to going crazy, but the leaf village being destroyed is the number one condition for this.
Yeah, so it's a paradox. But I do have another paradox topic if we want to move on to my second topic.
Okay.
So, the time slip arc. Going back to what I was saying about that. So, time slip arc. We have Boruto and Sasuke going back in time to Naruto Part 1. Obviously, there's only one Boruto at that time. Boruto hadn't been born yet. Naruto's only a kid still. That makes sense. That's all fine. Sasuke, there's technically two Sasukes at that time. A kid Sasuke and an adult Sasuke. They never meet, so we don't know what would happen there. Probably nothing, but it's whatever. It makes sense. There can be two Sasukes because of timey-wimey shenanigans. That's all fine so far. Are we all on the same page? We're all following up to this point? Establishing that common ground?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Here's where it gets weird. Urashiki. There's two Urashikis. Do we know why that's a problem?
How were there two? What?
Well, I'm assuming that Ishiki is less than, 18 years old? He looks like he's more than 18, plus Kaguya thinks about him in that one anime filler or whatever. So he's probably thousands of years old. So I'm assuming there's two... Oh, sorry, did I say Ishiki? I meant Urashiki. Well, there's two Urashikis out there.
Yes, I think that's what you meant.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's what I meant, my bad. I did not mean to say that. Yeah, so there's two Urashikis during the time slip arc. So, can anyone remind me why that would be a problem? Okay, I guess I'll do it myself. Okay,
well, several problems
Sasuke, the reason that's not a problem for him.
There's more than one issue.
Yeah, well, Boruto,
Well,
there's only
first of
one
all,
of them,
I don't
so
know if
it's
this
not
is-
a problem in the first place. For Sasuke, he's a ningen. He's a human, so no problem there. Even all shinobi are human. Well, that doesn't apply to what Urashiki is. An Otsutsuki. And you know what Otsutsukis have? Karma stopgaps. So I think
you didn't say this other one that I was gonna say, but so theoretically, the other Urashiki could also have a time travel turtle, just to make it even worse.
Well, that definitely just kicks the can down the road rather than addressing the problem. We still get to the same paradox in one way or the other, but... unless that just goes back so far to where every version of past Urashiki uses the time travel turtle at the exact same time, to where there's only one Urashiki at every moment in time, and the original Urashiki just goes back in time to before he was born. That's the only way to where that could, I think, work. But even then, it gets weird when you travel back in time, unless they all travel back at the same time.
Yeah, you clearly had history in Urashiki. Bro, it's not 16 years old.
Exactly. So that means there's two Urashikis. Two Urashiki Otsutsukis. Two Urashiki Otsutsukis that should have the karma, thus stopgap removes the extra. Nuts?
I'm a little confused.
Well, yes. So, wait, hold on. Did I think about it? Okay, assuming that, what it really boils down to is, are the Otsutsuki a bunch of idiots and they just don't put a karma until 3 seconds before they're gonna die? They don't keep a spare? Or are they smart and just make sure they have at least one vessel handy? Because if Urashiki has even one, all we need is one. When he dies, it'll just activate that vessel to become Urashiki again. Effectively doing nothing but stopping him from getting the Nine Tails in that particular moment. But that's the easiest way to bring Urashiki back to the manga without even, honestly, don't even have to address it. The fans can figure it out if you really want. Yeah. So there's hope for Urashiki. The only reason it's not gonna happen is because Ikimoto's writing it, not Kanaji.
I mean, that is funny, but that wasn't my topic. I mean, I'm fully in agreement and support. But, so, okay, so do we all agree there were two Urashikis during the time slip arc?
Yes.
Yeah, they were both existing, seemingly in the same quote-unquote universe. If it's the different dimension, maybe same sub-universe. I don't know how that works, but I'll just call it the same
It's
universe.
something anyway.
Yeah. So, and they're both just chilling, doing their same thing. They're both technically the original, so I don't know if that technically would count it for not being a duplicate copy of the stopgap of the Otsutsuki Karmasil or what. It's also a possibility where, oh, it's a Shinjutsu. Not every Otsutsuki has every Shinjutsu. Urashiki doesn't have the It just feels. It feels like every Otsutsuki should have the karma.
Well, see, what's weird about that, though, is it's... Okay, this is what's weird, in my opinion. So, the explanation for karma, like, existing, essentially, is, well, the people who get sacrificed need a way to come back to life, and who are the people who get sacrificed? Well, according to Amado, it's the lower ranked of the pair. Now, we've seen 2 karma users so far. What's in common between them? They're both the upper ranked. And the 2 lower ranked people we've seen didn't use karma. Kage didn't use karma. She used something else. Kinshiki just died, didn't care, apparently. Like, a lot of people who should have karma are Kaguya and Kinshiki, based on the explanation. And if anything, Ishiki and Momoshiki wouldn't have it because they don't need to learn it. They're not dying. Yeah, it's the other way around, from what we've seen.
That's true.
Now, Urashiki's weird because in the anime, he's like... operates on his own. He just does whatever the hell he wants. So, like, I don't know if he's been getting sacrificed or eating fruits or what the hell he's been doing. He just kind of does whatever. So, grows a one-man team, joins other people's team when he feels like it.
I don't know. It's just weird. So the Otsutsuki Karma stopgap, it prevents a second double from being made, but I don't think it would technically just vaporize the second double if it did get made. Or do we disagree with that? Do we think it would do that? Does it have that capability, its function?
Well, see, the thing with that, though, is technically speaking, that's a karma stopgap.
Yeah.
Nothing ever says time travel turtle has a stopgap. So
yeah, of course.
He could just
But obviously that Urashiki would still apply or abide by those same rules, since it's like the rules depend on the original as well in the first place. It's like connected to the original.
I guess that's where you're going with the problem situation.
Yeah, because I feel like, and I don't know which one, but one or the other should have just poofed out of existence. Arguably.
Yeah, that's where I don't know that's necessarily true, just because the way Amado describes it is it's more like whether the Otsutsuki intentionally thought out the jutsu as they made it, or it just happened to be that way. It's the karma preventing the duplicates, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can't make duplicates in other ways. So, like, for example, I know Mabushi isn't technically an Otsutsuki, but, like, there's no stopgap on Mabushi, clearly. So he's from a divine tree, so it's Otsutsuki related at the very least. So, nothing says you can't just have duplicates via other means. It just means that karma, at least. I mean, the other question is, well, technically speaking, that's not the same Urashiki. It's not a duplicate, because this is an Urashiki who's had an extra 16 years of life compared to this other one, whereas the karma one, you can make. Now, I'm gonna contradict myself for a second, but technically it's supposed to be an exact copy, so that one would be identical. What's the counter argument? Well, let's just use Momoshiki as an example. The Momoshiki who duplicated himself and made it into a karma on Boruto was the Momoshiki arc Momoshiki. And then that Momoshiki lives on, and the other Momoshiki that doesn't exist, it's the data anyway, is from that Momoshiki. So if Momoshiki, after planning karma, goes on to eat Kinshiki afterwards, we have two different Momoshikis.
Okay. This is a ship of Theseus sort of situation.
You know, like, again, like... So, now, the way Amado describes it is it's the personalities. So, like, okay, who cares that the genetics are different? But I have two two areas to question. According to the freaking Otsutsuki, genetics are literally everything. So, like, by as far as they're concerned, that's a whole new person. And second is, well, technically speaking, genetics and lived experiences shape personality. If this Momoshiki has different genetics and now a different living experience, is he really the same personality?
Well, but also,
You
let's
know?
say it is personality and exclusively personality. Despite being completely different physically and genetically between Ishiki and Momoshiki, let's just say hypothetically they had the same personality. Well, what happens now?
Why don't just move away?
Exactly.
That's really
Like for example, Kamui, if you and I had the karma, would one of us just be screwed? We have close personalities.
That's funny. Or like an Ashura versus Naruto situation.
No,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
So it's a weird one. I don't know. Like, and obviously Ikima's not putting this much thought into it.
I mean,
But
it's weird that they go back to the original timeline despite changing that timeline anyways. But ignoring that.
yeah, especially when they left the seeds that they did. Like, for example, the Thunder Train. They never addressed like, well, did he make the Thunder Train earlier? Now, if let's just say he did, shouldn't that technically
Paradox.
lead to further advancements in technology that come sooner because they're starting everything sooner?
I mean, arguably.
The
Then
train
again-
system should just be more high tech than it was in the current because they became higher tech earlier.
Well, the funny idea is that he came up with the idea earlier, but even if he came up with the idea later in the original, if he doesn't come up with it before the Fourth Great Ninja War, it's possible they just didn't have the means to make the technology until after the war. So it
Oh, so it just doesn't matter.
Exactly, yeah. But the weird thing about going back to the
I mean, that
original
could be an
timeline,
explanation, I suppose. Yeah.
does that mean okay? Urashiki dying doesn't make a difference because in the original timeline, Urashiki stopped existing in the original timeline as soon as he went back in time. And it's not like seemingly making differences in the past would have made differences in the present based on this. Because Naruto remembers Urashiki
Well, the other
years
thing
from
is
Sasuke
that-
and Boruto about him.
But the other thing is though that the other Urashiki, because the thing is again, what they did is different from, let's just say, use the freaking Taiju example, where they go back in time and they're trying to make the past Hawkeye not do things so that the future Hawkeye is different, essentially. Boruto and Sasuke didn't go back in time and kill that timeline Urashiki so that future Urashiki can't do stuff. They killed the future Urashiki in the past. So they're just in an endless loop because the other Urashiki is just gonna go on and do the same thing again and again and again and again and again. Or maybe he changes his ways in one of the future. So they're not really getting it.
But low-key, if they're going back to the original timeline, rather than going to the timeline that they changed, which I don't think is the case, I think it's technically on one timeline, but let's assume there are two timelines, as there should technically be if there's a change. One of the timelines don't get snuffed out or whatever, both timelines just exist. If they're going back to the original timeline, then it doesn't even matter if they beat Urashiki or not. Urashiki can take the 9 tails from Kid Naruto, killing him! And then Sasuke and Boruto go back to the original timeline to where that just didn't happen ever. Who cares? Doesn't matter. I mean, it's
They
possible.
seem to be doing a one timeline thing. But it's just weird because, like, again, it's two Urashikis.
But you can't have one timeline when there's a change in the past. Because if we're saying in the original timeline, the train thing was never figured out early, and they're making a big deal about that being a new, different thing now, then there should be two timelines.
It doesn't feel like they're doing the two timeline thing.
Yeah,
right now,
it depends if in the
It
original it just always happened that way or what, but yeah. I mean, the Koji
just
10
seems more like
directions
they're
thing
doing-
just messes it up, realistically, but...
Yeah, I mean, like, they obviously did not think about it in this way. They were just doing a fun time.
Yeah, obviously.
But it's still part of the problem because it wasn't
It was
meant to
fun.
be a.
I had
They
fun.
weren't writing it for the overarching story. They were writing
Yeah.
it for a one arc thing.
Of
And
course.
because of that, they did what they did to try to cover up holes, but obviously they did not make it perfect because they weren't trying to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this is the first time they did this. They did it with the Naruto movie 4, Shippuden movie 4, Lost Tower as well. But